Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon.
Hello.
We're back.
We're back. My name's Jo Neary. I'm the Team Vicar in the Beaminster Team.
And I'm David Baldwin. I'm the Team Rector of the Beaminster Team.
And this is our 5th Talking Head.
It most certainly is.
Ready for Advent 3.
That's exactly right.
Coming up on the 15th of December.
You're right again.
I'm always right. Have you not worked this out yet?
I know. Far be it from me to suggest otherwise.
Okay. Any more good feedback?
I've just checked with the communications manager
Right.
as to how many people viewed on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And the figure has dropped dramatically.
Oh dear.
We reached a peak at week 1 of 73 YouTube viewers.
Wow.
And last week, only 14 viewed us on
14? That's terrible.
on YouTube. Oh, but there is a reason.
Oh, okay, why?
Because you can now watch us, dear viewer, on YouTube, on Facebook, and you can get the link on Twitter and other things.
Right, so they're clicking from Facebook and watching it direct.
They're watching it direct on Facebook.
Excellent.
And so, who knows, there could be 30,000 of you watching this.
I think it's unlikely, but, we could try.
Thankfully.
Okay.
Thankfully. Would you like to read?
Shall I? So the reading for this Sunday is Matthew's Gospel, chapter 11, verses 2 to 15, I think. When John heard in prison what the Messiah was doing, he sent word by his disciples and said to him, excuse me, "Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?" Jesus answered them, "Go and tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have good news brought to them. And blessed is anyone who takes no offence at me." As they went away, Jesus began to speak to the crowds about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to look at? A reed shaken by the wind? What then did you go out to see? Someone dressed in soft robes? Look, those who wear soft robes are in royal palaces. What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'See, I am sending my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I tell you, among those born of women, no one has arisen greater than John the Baptist, yet the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he."
Some nice praise there from Jesus to John the Baptist.
Absolutely. Affirming his prophetic ministry.
Most definitely. I mean, John, of course, finds himself unjustly in prison.
Yeah.
For what he's been saying already.
Subject to the tyrannical rule of Herod Antipas.
The very man. The very man, and we all know what's going to happen to him.
We do. It's not going to end well.
No.
So why do you think John's questioning if Jesus really is the Messiah?
I would hazard a guess to say it's because many others have come before claiming to be the Messiah.
Right.
And let's be honest, if you're in prison and you're heading towards disaster, then you may feel let down by God or whoever his representative is.
Yeah.
And begin to question. And why would God allow him to be in such a position as he's in at the moment? And of course, Jesus has sent his disciples along. John has sent his disciples along to Jesus to say, "Well, are you the one?
Yeah.
Or is it just another false dawn?
Yeah.
Do I still have to wait longer?
Yeah.
Or hope I live longer
Yeah.
to see the one that has been sent?"
It's kind of like when you're waiting for a friend, say you've arranged to meet and they're late, and you sit there thinking, is it today? Was it the right time? Did we say this place, or did you say? And I guess if you're in prison and you're in prison for doing what God's called you to do, and yet you're suffering at the hands of a human being, it's really kind of human nature to question God and say, actually, did I get it right, and have I done the right thing, and is this chap the person you told me to point towards? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the real thing is that we all have times of doubt and question, don't we? And I think we wouldn't be human and we wouldn't be right in the mind if we didn't have times. We look at some of the things in the news this week. A volcano erupting in New Zealand. And everyone on the island dead, as far as we're aware. A man sent back to prison for raping 30 women who'd been released wrongly in the first place. Where is God in this? I can understand people questioning, why has God allowed this to happen? And no doubt John the Baptist was the same. He was human. Why has it happened? You've sent me, Lord, to prepare the way for the Messiah, and now look at the situation I'm in.
I'm in prison and it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah.
And what I find is interesting is what Jesus does in response. He sends back the messengers and says, go and tell John what you hear and see. So the stuff that Jesus is doing, healing the blind, helping the lame to walk, cleansing lepers, relieving the deaf, raising the dead, poor being liberated and having good news. The stuff of the kingdom is what he wants to confirm. Oh, the phone rang.
The phone is ringing.
It is.
We kind of just, of course, ignore the phone, but the answering machine is going to come. We're back.
When John is having his crisis about who Jesus is, and as we've said, it's very human to question the things when we're under pressure and wondering where God is. What intrigues me is what Jesus does is he sends John's messengers back to John in prison and says, tell them what you've seen. So tell John what you've seen me doing. And then he lists all these things that Jesus is doing, the kingdom stuff. So he's healing, bringing sight to the blind, helping the deaf hear, raising the dead, the lame are healed, the poor are having good news brought to them. So it's the stuff of God's kingdom is what is the proof that Jesus is really from God. And that he is the one we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I like the bit at the beginning, though, of that passage where he says, what are you not expecting to find?
Yeah.
What are you expecting of the Messiah, the one that God has sent? Are you expecting somebody in a palace? Well, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
Are you expecting someone in fine robes? Or no, they live in palaces. That's not me. But
neither is it John either, because he's talking about John as well.
He is, exactly. But recognising that, we are here, God's message is now fulfilled, and all those that you listed, what do we do about them today? As the follow on, the disciples of our day, what are we doing about people who are oppressed? What voice are we giving, particularly as we wait in this country for a general election that could make all kinds of differences to people's lives? What are we doing to protect those who are disadvantaged, impoverished, don't have the same advantage as other people? And what are we doing? What are we doing about it?
And I think it's really important to take our Christian values into the polling booth.
It is.
And to think not just about what we might want, but actually what is the right choice so that the people who are oppressed in our society have the most chance of liberation.
Yeah. How do we live what we say we believe? That's the choice we get, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's about integrity, isn't it? Not being hypocritical and, doing what we say we believe, living it out.
It is. And that's an integrity we somehow have to live with. We can't say one thing and do another, because I've always believed, and have said quite often at meetings and in parishes, people out there know what you stand for or say you stand for
as a Christian. Yeah.
And then they see you do other things. And what does that attract them to want to follow you or to follow Jesus? And the answer is no, I don't think he does. So how do we, with any integrity, hold what we believe in all aspects of our life, whether it be at the polling booth, whether it be in the queue in the shop, whether it be in the street when we see something happening that we know is wrong? How do we deal with that or answer it?
And I think that challenge is ever real for us as Christians, is actually to live out God's kingdom values now, and not to be deceived by the idols of the world.
The false prophets.
The false prophets and the things that seek to distract us from our relationship with God, whether that's, well, it could be anything, couldn't it? But the stuff that gets in the way of us living out that integrated life and that life that's holy.
Set aside for God. How do we set aside that? And again, it's back to what we've spoken about for the last 2 weeks. It's about spending time, making sure we're put right, making sure we're prepared, so that when God does come, we're able to meet him.
Brilliant. So what signs of the kingdom have you seen this week? What's renewed your hope?
A number of things, I think. Perhaps today, when a young man who just happened to stumble across me really a few months ago, and has stumbled across me 2 or 3 times since, came into church while we were in there this morning, and wanted to tell me about his latest engagement with the Holy Spirit.
Fantastic.
Because he's been reading the Gospel of Thomas, and I see from when I first met him, and he just happened to be in church and I came across him, that he really has encountered the Holy Spirit. Now, how he expresses it at the moment is perhaps varied, but he does acknowledge now that it is the Holy Spirit in his life, and he tells me it's changed him, and he wants to continue that change. So perhaps that's the biggest. And yourself?
I was struck at Solway Ash on Sunday. We had a Christingle service with a number of young people and families present, and there was this moment where we were singing a hymn and everyone had their Christingle lit, and I was just really aware of being God's family together and how exciting it is to be with people of all ages who want to find out about God, want to worship him, and it was just joyful to be there together and share worship together. Really exciting.
Good.
Thank you for joining us. We're here, as we said, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram and on YouTube. We also have a website, beaminsterteamchurches.org, and you can continue to follow our Advent reflections, which are published every day on the website. But follow us at Beaminster Team, and we look forward to seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye-bye.